Alrighty guys, so I'm going to kind of get right into this. I'm sorry if you guys cannot hear me. I'm in an airport, so I'm doing my best to kind of project my voice as much as I can. But I did choose the question that Brian posted, and I chose the effectiveness of a preventative practice. And I just kind of want to go over that and see, let you guys see how I kind of generated data for that. So I first chose lower extremity sports because the thought process that I have that I see a lot of people doing nowadays is the mini band routines prior to games, prior to practice, prior to all of those things. So I kind of want to look at that and kind of make my own data for that and see and show kind of what the effectiveness might be if we incorporated mini bands into practice for our lower extremity sports. So for those lower extremity sports, I chose basketball, football, and soccer. And then I chose lower extremity injuries, mostly knee and ankle, because that's the ones that they're supposed to prevent. And so the first way I kind of looked at it was the days missed for year 0, and I compared year 0 to year 7. As you can see, for days missed in year 0, there was just a much more severe injuries, much more mild and moderate injuries and things like that. And you can see there's a lot of days missed here in year 0. Versus if I go down here, you can actually see the injury severities. So mild, severe, and moderate. So I had 20% moderate injuries, 40% mild, and 40% severe. And then, so say year 0 was the year that I did not incorporate, and I decided, okay, next year I'm going to incorporate it. So from year 1 to year 7, these are the days missed. So I'm seeing much more days missed. Of course, I'm still going to get a severe injury in there. Like, you can't necessarily completely prevent an ACL tear. You can't necessarily prevent an MCL sprain. You can't prevent all of those things. So the best way for me to kind of do it is kind of skew my results a little bit and say, oh, one person tore the ACL versus how many people had these problems in the past. So then you can also see my days missed here, like I said, right up in here. And then I'll also pull this down so you can see the injury severity. So I have a lot more mild and moderate injuries, and I use the kind of count if to see the difference for those. But I have a lot more mild and moderate injuries versus my severe injuries, which is 1, which is so much better than these years where I had 4 severe injuries, 2 moderate, 4 mild. And the data that I kind of thought about this was if you missed a week or more, I kind of counted it as that. Of course, this is not like in my setting. I'm kind of pretending like I'm in a college setting, and I may have a lot more people that miss a week, but this is kind of like the data that I pulled for those particular sports. So I use basketball, football, and soccer, like I said. Alright, and so I have 2 sheets just to kind of show you guys different data, because I think besides those things, you need more data than that. So I also had it broken down by how many basketball injuries incorporate ankle sprains, how many soccer injuries recorded knee sprains, and such on like that. So in year 0, I had this looked at. Well, I compared these differently. So I did knee sprain and ankle sprain. I did a bar graph, and I showed 0 from year 0 to year 5. And for all of these injuries, it's year 0 to year 5. And we're just looking for a reduction of how many ankle sprains or how many knee sprains that occurred in those years. So looking at that, so going in year 0, I had 49, as y'all can see from the value in the little corner. And then year 1, okay, so my value went up by 50. Nothing's going to happen overnight, and that's kind of what you can pitch to your coaches. Like, nothing's going to happen overnight. We're working slowly to build into a program. And so by year 5, I'm seeing 22 knee sprains versus my 49 that I had in year 0. And looking at injuries, that's a pretty good perspective on that. So it'd be really great for that to happen with the mini band routines. And so then I compare ankle sprains. To me, you're going to have a lot more ankle sprains than you will knee sprains. So when I created and generated this data, I used the model that I would have more knee sprains than ankle sprains. So I have value 43 for year 0. And then by the time I got to year 5, when I had incorporated 5 years of, all right, we're doing mini band routines every day before pre-practice and pre-game. And you're seeing a value of 21. And you can show a coach with these that, okay, this is important. I'm reducing your number of injuries, meaning I get to keep your players in the game, meaning that I can help you and I'm helping you by doing these things. And so that's kind of all the data that I generated, because I felt like that was the data that was the most important. That would be the most effective way to show that I'm being effective. And that's kind of what we're focusing on right now, is being effective. And I think that that's the best way to do it. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. But that's my data. Alright guys, bye.